We've pretty much eradicated bullying out of schools, haven't we? And don't get me wrong, it's an excellent concept. But I think a lot of us would look back upon bullying as an aspect of growing up and feel that it was somehow necessary. And let's face it, really fucking enjoyable part of childhood that's just not available to us anymore. I got called into my old school to give a speech on bullying, because somehow it's a paradigm that comedians know heaps about bullying. Why else would you stand up in front of a group of ambivalent strangers every night and talk about yourself? Of course you know about bullying. So I went in there and the first thing they said was, mate, long time since you've been at school. A lot of things have changed. Main one is now boys and girls are exactly the same. I said, what? What are you talking about, man? We've treated boys and girls the same for a very long time. You keep condescending this shit to me, principal or not, I'm going to flush your head. And they said, no, it's not just treating them the same. You have to think of them as the same. You take it further than just treatment. They're all little champions now, every single one of them, and they're the same as each other. There are no differences at all anymore between boys and girls, which surprised me a bit, because I got one of each of these at my house, and not once have I walked out the front and looked up on the roof and seen my daughter up there throwing eggs at cars and playing guitar with her dick. So I walked into the classroom, right, and all the kids are standing there in their outdated Anglo education system rows waiting for me to say something prophetic. I said, look, sit down, you little fucksticks. I'll tell you something about bullying that has not changed and probably never will. And that is that the number one leading cause of bullying is unco fat kids with glasses. That's it. So no, I'm just kidding. I've done some research, right, and I've got a statistic for you. I'll tell you a stat. By the time you all turn 12, right, 1 in 3 of you will have experienced bullying. So look at the student on your left, and now look at the student on your right, and ask one of them to help you beat the shit out of the other one. Let's get it over with and move on. Oh, it didn't really work anyway, did it, bullying? Now you can get a triple extra large superhero T-shirt for a grown man. Well, the nerds won. Well, they're fine. I know one of these blokes, right? He's about my age. He collects stuff like limited edition comic books and various toys and other things that are, produced specifically for children. And easy for me to rip into, I get it. I don't collect anything. I was never abused. But there's a man in his 40s who collects stuff. And he was talking me through how upset he was that the paint had started to wear off the faces of some of his more favoured original vintage Star Wars figurines. And he was devastated about this. And fair enough too. It is devastating. It's almost as if these toys weren't, designed to be played with for any more than about 4 fucking decades, the way he was carrying on. So this dork has turned up at my place, right, because that's how things work now. I don't have any friends anymore. My friends are just my wife's friends' husbands. That's a grim lucky dip, that. You don't know what you're going to get. No, when he's turned up, I said what I say to any man who turns up at my place after midday, would you like a beer? Which is a question that used to elicit a fairly definitive yes or no answer. Not anymore. You ask a man now if he'd like a beer, he will look at his wife. Yeah. She'll have a better idea of whether or not you're fucking thirsty. Yeah. So, later on in the afternoon, the kids and I just finished a game of piggy in the middle with this bloke's Ventolin. And we went inside and he started talking us through his extracurricular activities. And like a lot of wedgie recipients, this idiot had gone and gotten himself right out of his depth as an adult by taking up adventure sports just to try and prove something to someone. Like nothing really kicks sand into a bully's face better than kite surfing through some power lines, does it? Yeah. And like a lot of them, he'd gotten into mountaineering. What a dickhead thing to do. I mean, mountaineering's a difficult pursuit. I've tried it and I'm an actual man. These insipid little beta men, they're coming unstuck. But they're the ones doing it. Everyone's got their own personal Everest now. Some of you have got your own personal Everest. These dipshits, their personal Everest is Everest. It's the most irresponsible Everest you can have. From what I've seen, an attempt on Mount Everest always ends the same way. It's like, oh, kids, gather round. Got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is your dickhead father has gone and used our entire family savings to send you lot halfway to being orphans, all because he got crow-pecked and dacked in the cafeteria in front of the netball team one time. What a loser. But good news, though, I found the key to the idiot's cabinet, so help yourselves to the boxed-up priceless figurines. If only he'd done so, he would have seen from his Mountain Recon edition of G.I. Joe that you need some oxygen tanks on your back and some stuff hanging off your utility belt to make it up and back intact from Everest. In fact, I think we'll be fine without him. I shouldn't have married the loser based only on his computer program earning potential. But people say, though, that when you become a parent, you just become a much nicer person. I've not really found that. I've just turned into a dishonest opportunist. I'll tell my family that we're going to go on a ripper holiday, only to discover very soon after there's no way I can afford this. So I have to tell a couple of devastated children that we're no longer going on a Gold Coast theme park getaway because your behaviour's been so fucking appalling. I know. And I'm not even the biggest liar I know. Like, men lie all the time, but fathers of newborns, they're the biggest liars you'll ever meet. Some of the things they say, unbelievable. These are people like, oh, this little miracle I brought into the world, you wouldn't believe it. Bloody blank canvas that I'm responsible for. There was a woman involved, whatever. But what I've done here, you wouldn't believe it. And the love I've got pouring out of my massive heart for this thing, oh, I'll tell you what, don't get between us. So I'd do anything for her. I would do anything for her, you know, including introducing to the same household 2 years from now a smaller, cuter version to compete with her for the rest of her life. So, they always say this, I'd do anything for her. You go, would you? Would you do anything? Would you do the one thing she really, really wants? Murder her baby brother. I don't think so. So I have found myself now, though, I don't have any friends left who don't have kids. You've got to trim them off. It doesn't work out. And they do the same to you. Why anyone who doesn't have kids would hang around with someone who does have kids unless they're sus is beyond me. It's a little bit of a punish. I've only got one straight friend left who doesn't have children. I've known him for a very long time. I know everything about his uncomplicated, facile and largely selfish existence. He knows nothing about mine, but I try to be there for him in times of trouble, be a bit of an ear for him and a shoulder to cry on. He's turned up at our place all forlorn. I said, oh, what's wrong? He said, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend. I said, oh, did ya? He said, yeah, now I'm all sad. I said, oh, are ya? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Did you have children with this person? And he said, no. I said, well, in that case, do you want to go into my bedroom over there for a little while and lie on my bed and stare at the ceiling, you fucking teenager? Yeah. Got some front coming around here and talking to me like this. Grow up. I know a bloke, right, whose relationship broke down. He's got to go around every Sunday afternoon and sit outside a house that he's still paying off but not living in and just beep the horn until his 3 little permanent reminders come running out. While some strange new bloke is inside there just blasting some above the waterline skid marks off the custom toilet that he spent 2 painful weekends installing. And you want to come around here and talk me through your low-stakes little juvenile breakup? I wouldn't have the fucking nerve. So, while I'm down here, though, I'm not here to disparage marriage. If anyone's thinking that, it's brilliant. I've been married myself for ages. It's worked out superbly. It's really good. One of the major benefits for me of marriage, out of all the benefits, of course, is that I don't have to buy my own clothing anymore. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. There was a time, right, in our not-so-distant past, when if your husband still went out and bought all his own clothing, then you were probably married to a gay. And I'm not saying that's acceptable as a way of thinking. It's not. We've moved past that, and fair enough too. Good riddance to bad smells, in fact. But sort of one of the things for me about marriage is I don't have to walk into a shop. For the last dozen years, I haven't had to do this. Walk into a shop that doesn't sell food or timber. It's pretty good. It does have the occasional pitfall, I have to admit. I was walking past the laundry at our place, right, and the door was open a little bit as I walked past. My wife was in there applying some pre-wash stain remover to the gusset of a pair of my undies. And when I walk past, right, before you panic, we take it in turns to do the laundry. There's a roster system, you know. The fact that I even have to point that out says an awful lot about you people. But when I walked past, right, there was a gap in the door, and our eyes met very briefly on my way past there. And, oh, the look she gave me, you'd swear it were me who'd gone out and purchased a 3-pack of white undies for myself. So one of the things I started doing for my kids, out of all the things I do all the time for them, is I started going to this pool with them. And people say to me, oh, you got to get healthy, mate. You're getting old. You got to get healthy. So you turn up at the grave with some semblance of self-respect. Start getting healthy. And I don't really like gyms, but I started going to this pool. I'll take the kids up for a swim when I go up there too. I'll tell you a bunch of people who have no form of body dysmorphia like the rest of us. Old Australian men. They don't care, do they? And I'm all for my kids being exposed to everything life has to offer, including some prune standing in the middle of a change room just vigorously flossing his floppy undercarriage with a towel. Whoever's there to see that, that's their treat. Brilliant. But even I'm open-minded. You know, I'm as open-minded as anyone. I'm known for it. But even I have a line that I don't want crossed here. We went for a swim, right? We left all our stuff in the change room and we've come back. And in our change room, they've got these benches you can sit on, right, with the wooden slats, and there's gaps between the slats. The gaps on ours, too wide. I know why they've got slat benches. They don't just have a flat bench, so water doesn't pool on it. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a fuckwit. But they've got these... Look, the gaps in the slats are too wide now. I've looked in the Australian Building Code. There's nothing in there to say how wide the gaps should be in between the slats on pool change room benches. And there's all sorts of legislation surrounding how wide the gap should be in between the bars on cots where we keep babies. So no matter how many attempts someone were to make, there's no way you can fit an average-sized baby's head through a cot, and fair enough too, you know. But there's nothing in there about the benches in the pool change rooms. We've gone for a swim, left all our stuff in the change room, come back, and there's this crispy old fossil sitting there, and he's completely starkers, asleep, and just sort of through the bench, he's just resting his weary agates in my daughter's sandals. That is where I'll draw the line, unfortunately. Get all your stuff, kids, not those. I'll buy you a new pair. And we're out of here. We're going to have to purchase our health from elsewhere from now on. So we've turned to diet for something you can control a bit better in terms of health. We go and buy a box of veggies now. Such a great thing to be doing. There's some organic fun for the whole family. So I used to have to go shopping for my vegetables like some sort of Neanderthal hunter-gatherer. Not anymore. Now I can reverse global warming by just driving somewhere and picking up a box of stuff that someone else has chosen for me. It's brilliant. Generally, when I turn up, first thing I say to the free spirit soap avoider who's convening it is, what is this? And I'm not referring to the fact that I can pick up $65 worth of veg with my left hand. I genuinely don't know what the fuck most of it is. It's full of wartime root vegetables and the like. But it's seasonal and you don't know what you're going to get each week, and that's where the magic is. You could get anything. I'm just as likely to get 22 chocos and a black banana and just one potato to slice up for the whole family to enjoy as I am to get 24 chocos. So. And I cannot tell you what a world of excitement this has opened up for the children too. Their faces light up when they realise that their lunchbox snacks are going to be a Jerusalem artichoke and a parsnip muffin. So one other thing we're doing in this realm too, we started going to farmers' markets right in the middle of the city. Such a great thing. It's just farmers in the middle of the city there. Sometimes I'll feel like a bunch of carrots that haven't been allowed to grow to their full potential for $10. Or maybe I'll have a hankering for a $3.50 apple that's been lovingly grown on a quarter-acre block right near my place by some skinny little stamp collector in a fucking neckerchief calling himself a farmer. What is this? I mean, we all love farming, don't get me wrong. Farming's the cornerstone of our society. We love it. I love it. I think it's excellent. When there's times of drought, don't our hearts go out to farmers? Ones I think of the most, of course, are your expensive wooden breadboard and jars of fig chutney farmers doing it tough on the land for the rest of us. These people who call themselves... They're nothing like the farmers I grew up around. I knew a few farmers in my youth. They're nothing like these people. If you're in the city, right, and you're not specifically there to visit the courthouse to answer a few questions about the full sleeping bags you reversed over at last weekend's B&S ball, you're probably not a farmer. And I'm not here to get down on the country too. The country's a bloody great place out there. It's about the only joint left in Australia where there's some semblance of being Australian. You know, the cities have gone to pot, haven't they? They lost their identity totally. Out there, they're still keeping it real. I mean, even Aussie, the word Aussie, That used to mean something, didn't it? Now it just means plus egg and beetroot. Yeah. Not out there, they're living it. It's bloody great. If you don't, I go to the country a fair bit for my work. If you don't get out there, you should, just to see what we've done with the place. So good. Sometimes I'll stop off at one of those picnic areas they've got on the outskirts of country towns. Well, I stopped at one recently when everyone out. Can't wait to cook up a well-earned lunch here on the complimentary barbecues. Only to find that some local legend, probably the regional athletics champion, had already been there the night before. And he'd sort of been impressing his future de facto by carving her name onto every surface, ripping all the chairs off the picnic tables. And to put the finishing touches on his courtship, he had melted a bog onto the hot plate. So get back in the car, kids. We'll just share out the Monte Carlos and push on and see what's waiting for us at the next of Australia's notable historic towns. But country people are pretty good. Some of them are great. Some of them move into the city. I know a bloke, right? He's moved into the city from the country, and I've known him for a fair while. But he brought his country values with him. And by that I mean he accuses upwards of half a dozen people per day of being queer, based only on their good posture. So, but he is one of these guys who he would never share a nacho or an umbrella with another man, just in case. I walk along beside him, and he's a couple of metres away from me, just in case I get ideas above my station there, and make a move. I went to the movies with this bloke, right? And I know the protocol is, it was during the day, so it was just us and a smattering of bewildered wrinklies had wandered in to the cinema. And there was heaps of room. And I know the protocol is, when you go to the movies with another man, there's no way you sit in seats next to each other, just in case when the lights go down, someone makes a move. So there was that, but there was plenty of room. And this guy, he sat so far away from me though, that he had to ring me up to say, "Did you just touch my hand, you fucking poof?" Yeah. So, you know what else has moved into my suburb though, in terms of health, and it's been a real boon for the local community, is a new wellness centre. It's fabulous. I mean, I feel quite well, but how would I know that I wouldn't feel even more well if I went down the wellness centre and purchased some off-the-shelf wellness down there? So I've wandered in there, and it's just a bunch of Bondi Buddhist-looking types cruising around, just drinking life straight out of whole coconuts in there. And I walked up and said to the profiteering capitalist hippie behind the counter, "Man, I got one question straight off the bat. What the fuck is wellness? Why don't you just call it health?" And he didn't say, "Look, we're not allowed to call it health." He said, "Oh, wellness, yeah, exactly the same as health. It's the same thing. Except wellness also involves a spiritual element. And by spiritual, I mean we only take cash." Well, I had cause to go to the wellness centre, though, because I hurt my back at work. And as soon as I felt it snap, I thought, oh, shit, you only get one back. You've got to look after your back your whole life. And there's only one thing for a snapped back, and that's some good old-fashioned wellness. I'd better get down to the wellness centre and sort this out. So I went in there and I said, "Look, I've snapped my back." And they said, "Mate, you're in luck." Because out the back here, and out the back are three words that always denote legitimate business activity. He said, "Out the back, we've got a chiropractor operating his business. So go out and see him." And I went out and saw this guy, and he was legit, this guy. He had like a framed degree nailed to the wall there. I got closer. It was just an enlarged Indonesian work visa. But pretty good bloke. And then I proceeded to have the conversation I assume every chiropractor has first time they meet a civilian. He's very upset that he wasn't allowed to call himself a doctor. They hate this, that they can't call themselves doctors. And I don't know why in this modern world of rewarding baseless ambition that we don't just let chiropractors call themselves doctors. It's ridiculous. Turned out, coincidentally, the only reason this guy couldn't call himself a doctor was the same reason I can't call myself a doctor. I'm not a fucking doctor. So, chiropractors, though, that's got to be the ultimate Aussie, hey, mum and dad, I'm just going to give it a go occupation. By mid-afternoon tomorrow, you could all be chiropractors if you want. I think you just go into a room somewhere and tell a story. And they give you a certificate and away you go. You can just go in somewhere and go, "Look, last weekend, I helped a mate move his king-size mattress on his hatchback. He didn't even have roof racks. We just undid all the windows, tied it on with 30 metres of dental floss, straight down the highway, one hand each up on the top there. Manual car, 110. Nailed it. Surely, if I'm capable of doing that, then I can manipulate baby spines with mixed results." Oh. It's no chiropractors here, are there? So I had cause to go back to the wellness centre, though, because I had crook guts. So I've gone in there, and they sold me some stuff. Had to go back the very next week. Say, look, funnily enough, the solid brass waving cat and the lump of pink crystal and the book on how to align my chakras didn't do the fucking trick. I've still got crook guts here. There must be something we can do for my guts. Stopping short, obviously, of consulting an actual health professional. There must be something we can do down here at the wellness centre for my crook guts. And I said, yeah, man, of course there is. You're in luck again, because what we've done here is we've started offering this procedure. And I apologise if not all of you are into this. So we started offering this procedure. It's called it's a fecal transfer. And what it is, you put a number 2 back in there. Like some entrepreneur has identified a hole in the market there and gone for that. And this guy could tell by the look on my face, not really my cup of tea. And he said, no, man, don't panic. It's not your revolting Monday morning 3 donuts, 2 coffees, blue collar poo. Yuck. No. This is a beautiful, delicate poo donated by a philanthropist, Pilates expert or something along those lines. I said, man, I'm going to have to stop you there. I've got to tell you, I'm giving serious consideration to cutting my spiritual journey short right here. If you've taken a look at me, I thought, oh, he's the kind of man who would voluntarily walk into a shop and just lie down on his back and chuck a brown eye while some dreadlocked vegan with those dangly rubber band earlobes gets a run-up and just slam dunks a Grogan straight to my freckle. You made a mistake. Don't think I'm going to do it. And he said, no, man, you should do it. You should definitely do it. What have you got to lose? So, well, besides $299.99 and the collective dignity of the human race, nothing. I said, yeah, you should definitely do it, because what it does is, it's really good for you. It puts good bacteria back in there. It recolonises your gizzards. I said, oh, man, now you're talking my language. You know, colonialism, one of my favourite concepts. Let's get amongst it. So I did it, right? And not for the reasons any of you perverts might think. I just did it because I want to be able to cruise around my house saying really cool stuff. Like, hey, Dale, don't wait for me for dinner. I'm just off down the wellness centre to pick the kids up from the pool. So, you know what else has opened up right near me too, and this has been great for my local community again, there's a new barber right near my house. So good. I mean, this one's called like the Wild Rooster and the Handsome Boar or something that's become synonymous with pulled pork and speakeasies and moonshine and swords and bacon and knives and Vikings and all that other shit that's been inexplicably commandeered by wooden spooner young men who think they can hide all their self-esteem issues and shit skin under big beards. Getting a haircut, there's something that's certainly changed quite a lot. I found myself with a spare 5 to 8 minutes. I thought, I'll knock off my annual chore of getting a quick hairy before returning to the onslaught of responsibility that constitutes the rest of my life. I better get down to the Wild Rooster and the Handsome Boar and sort this out. So I went in there, and there's a guy in there dressed like a pirate, and he's got a straight razor in his hand, and he roller skated over to me. And I said, look, man, I'm a bit short on time today. What I'd like to do, please, is make an appointment. Next Monday, 4:05 to 4:10, something like that would be perfect if it's available. I've got a little window. And he said, no, we don't take appointments. We're an old-fashioned barber shoppy. Can't you tell? Yeah. Just take a load off over there on that vintage, shabby, chic church pew, shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of fucking podcast listeners. Just like the olden days. And we'll get to you. So it came to be my turn, and one of these wild kombuchas has come over to me and said, look, get in the seat, sir. What would you like? I said, what? What would I like? What do you mean? What would I like? Do barbers know more than one haircut now? Is that what's happened? What would I like? What I'd like is a generic men's haircut in silence. I'd like to be sitting in my house 10 minutes from now. That's what I'd like. So came time to pay. Turned out nothing like the olden days. Getting a haircut now, that's some sort of $70 event performed by a tortured artistic genius. Getting a haircut used to be a way to just flick a bit of loose change toward a member of the lower classes in return for them cutting off some of your bodily waste. Can't stop progress, can you? I mean, you can turn anything that used to fall under the banner of low-bred plebeianism into quite a profitable racketeering business. And everyone will just say, that is clever marketing. And away you go. Here's something that happened to me, right? My grandfather died, right? And some of you may have had a grandfather die at some stage of your lives. I don't know. How would I? But when this happened, I had been watching a shit ton of television. I thought, there's only one thing for this, and that is a white lady funeral, the woman's touch. I'm going to have to get... I did dabble briefly with going with a small-time local dealership, but I thought, oh no, mum and pop operations, they just don't care enough to be able to gouge sufficient funds out of the bereaved to mount a nationwide mass media campaign. So we're going to have to go with the white ladies, the personal female touch there, because two things in the trademark registered name of white lady alone, of which Pops was quite fond. So we're going to have to go with them. So I found my nearest franchise, and it was handily located just next to an off-ramp of a freeway. And I didn't even have to go. I just rang up the white lady hotline, patent pending, and said, look, this is what happened. And they said, look, you're in luck, because what we do is we take care of everything. I said, everything? Everything. That is impressive, ladies. You got the job, obviously. Let's get down to the business of everything. Clearly, a couple of you have a background in roofing. We're going to need to get some tiles off. Still in his top floor bedroom there, couldn't get him out the doorway, he's massive. One of you knows how to operate a crane to make that happen. There's obviously a tow ball on the back of the hearse to bring in the pallet of beer for afterwards. The Heggies are fucking animals. One of you knows where to source an 8XL original vintage 1992 Brisbane Broncos premiership jersey that we can cut the back out of and drape across him, pretend it fits the open casket funeral. And one of you knows how to referee fights, because after death and beer, there's going to be some fights. In my experience, grief and violence, never that far apart. Like, nothing really showcases your love for the deceased better than belting the shit out of a cousin who's still alive, does it? Turned out, though, down at White Lady HQ, their definition of everything, quite different to mine. What they thought everything entailed was sending along 6 silent women in white pantsuits to a demountable chapel in the middle of a cemetery there, and just get 5 of them to go out on a stealth mission and just float around and ambush mourners from behind with a gloved hand on the shoulder. And when you turn around all scared, they'll just give you this sympathetic and then walk off. While the 6th one was stationed at the door for the end to hand out bags of white lady merchandise. Why not? They're trying to run a business. Leave them alone. And I don't mind saying, in terms of the merchandise white lady, I got caught with my pants down. I was busy offering some unpaid amateur condolences to a grieving relative, and I had no idea that the merchandise white lady was down to her last show bag until I heard her throw it up in the air and yell out, "Scab grab." But I got it, though. Don't worry. I'm not missing out on free stuff ever, especially at a funeral. Free stuff, that's one of my passions. I'm not here to big myself up, that's not my thing. But one time, I shoulder barged 2 10-year-olds off a footpath onto a main road just to get the last cornetto off the tailgate of a Black Thunder. So when shove comes to bash, this guy's not missing out on free shit. Now I'm the proud owner-operator of a white lady show bag. It's got some really neat stuff in it. It's got a white lady figurine in there with a hand out like that. Sits perfectly on the knob head of a Lego man, if you're that way inclined. Had a handful of Redskins in there. Nifty little book on how to deal with grief. And the big ticket item, a killer python. Just in the bottom there. My killer python ended up losing his head in the ensuing fracas with an uncle and his 2 dickhead stepsons I never liked. But headless killer python or not, we're very glad we went with the white ladies for the funeral, because my grandfather, there was only one dream he had, and he wanted to come true his whole life. And this was the dream that kept his chins up in the trenches of a war he didn't start. And it was the same dream that prompted him to practically beg us to ransack his pension over the last decade of his life so I could quantify how quickly his mortality was bearing down on him at a rate of $19.95 per week. And it was the same dream, of course, that that a lot of men of his generation had, and that was for 6 silent women in white pantsuits to be in charge of something as important as his send-off while wearing cowboy hats inside. He loved that. All the Anzacs did. And just to think that if I hadn't have been slumped in a couch watching television for the bulk of my adult life, his dream may never have come to fruition. Just one example of what television can do for us as a society. It is so good. I appreciate your being here for a live comedy show, but I assume you have televisions in your houses, so I don't really know what the fuck you are doing here. It's all there. The average Australian, by this hour of the night, is already been in the fart sack for 2 hours watching a television. Maybe they're lucky enough to get home in time to see a live hidden camera sting operation unfold before their very eyes, where some underpaid immigrant has been caught red-handed pinching 50 cents out of an ashtray down at the car wash. And if you're lucky enough, you'll see some vision of the victim, a chain-smoking pensioner in a dark kitchen opening envelopes. And some of you people think Australian journalism's fucking dead. But the television I've been watching, right, a lot of the television I've been watching, if you must know, in that disconcerting way that modern audiences seem to think they need to know everything personal about a comedian. Some of you taking this concept so far as to approach a performer after a show and attempt to speak on equal terms. Almost as if one of us hasn't been standing on a raised platform for a fucking hour. But the television I've been watching a fair bit of, right, of course, like a lot of you, has been the year-round excitement machine, otherwise known of as tennis. What a joy it's been for us, fans of the game of tennis, that the media have gone out of their way to create for us, out of thin air, tennis bad boys. Just to make us all nearly forget we're watching something as fucking boring as tennis. Now we've got tennis bad boys. And don't panic, by tennis bad boy, I just mean slightly less autistic than his colleagues. They're fine. There's some bad men playing sport, don't worry, but they're not playing tennis. Well, you take the worst ever tennis bad boy on a field trip to the change rooms of an actual sport. And you get him to breathe in some of the air that's been exhaled by these sexual misconduct enthusiasts and various other criminals. They'll faint. Straight into a turd that one of the lads left in front of the lockers as a bit of a leg pull. Tennis bad boys, they will go to the toilet in the toilet. There's no problems there. Some horrible men playing sport. I grew up around rugby league. There's some proper grubbery going on in that. Whenever I used to see one of my heroes, some legend of the game of league, appear in the newspaper outside the sports section, I used to think, oh, shit, I know what's happened here. Some champion he's been tinkering around in that confusing grey area that consists of boys will be boys pranks and violent crime. And now he's got to dust off his thin leather tie for a date with a magistrate because he's had a couple of shandies there and ended up spearing a bollard through a squad car windscreen while on the run for setting fire to a couple of strippers that he hired to caddy for him at putt-putt golf, making him the king of Mad Monday. A heavy crown indeed. But a crown that this particular role model was definitely worthy of wearing, because the very next week I saw this same bloke in the newspaper again, this time for using a shovel to lop the head off his underperforming greyhound racing dog. And I know, as behaviour goes, I would think pretty much in anyone's book, quite bad, yeah. Then you look at that and think, hang on, no, hold the phone. Let's not forget about tennis. Yeah, here's some privately educated millionaire dressed in all white, and he's just yelled a naughty word at his dad, who's sitting in the stands there supporting his nest egg. And then he's gone and gotten himself a slightly rebellious haircut and broken something that already belonged to him. Shush, everyone. He's about to start playing. What a fucking bad boy. Grow up. So, the bad boy, though, not even my favourite style of tennis player, if you want to know. My favourite type of tennis player, the ones who look up when they're in a bit of trouble on the court there. And don't we all? look to God in times of turmoil in our lives. And the big man upstairs, he's not above rolling his sleeves up to help a millionaire out in his darkest hour. Don't worry. But even God will sometimes find himself double booked on a Grand Slam final day, and he can't help these poor bastards out. Sometimes God's busy doing actual work. And I'm not talking about just sending his son off to appear on pieces of toast here and there. I'm talking about actual work that needs doing in God's realm. Like sending a tidal wave over to test some of his yuckier third world followers. Don't panic. By test, I mean murder in their thousands. Oh. I mean, I don't want to rip into God. Some of you like God. I like God myself. Bloody good bloke. What's not to like? The thing I like probably most about God and the whole shebang would be the mysterious ways aspect of God. Who doesn't love a mystery? I bloody love a mystery. Mysteries, some of my favourite things are mysteries. And this has some pretty good ones surrounding it. One of the best mysteries of all time for me is how God, right, like a premium being who answers to no one, will still, in a tip of his hat to fair trading practices, just allow other gods to conduct their businesses in the same market. That is mysterious. It's very nice, don't worry, but it is quite mysterious. Another one of my favourite mysteries, right, is how God, right, when he made me and then just gave me to women, he, on the other hand, produced nearly 100% of women who didn't appreciate his gift. That's fucking mysterious. Probably the best mystery of all time, though, and I went to religious schools, and I still never received a satisfactory answer for this, is exactly what Jesus was up to between the ages 0 and adulthood. Just never heard much about it. I mean, if he wasn't the Son of God, I'd be sus of someone who has so many holes in his biography between the manger and the cross. He's like one of those blokes who turns up on a building site and goes, "Oh, g'day wankers, I'm here. Give me a hammer." So, what? Where have you been for the last 25 years? Don't worry about it. But I can assure you that I am now a carpenter. It's a bullshit. Not in those sandals, you're not. So, well, I don't want to go about God. You know, thanks for having a bit of a laugh about God and the mysterious ways thing. You've got to have a laugh, don't you? Sometimes, right, I'll get an audience who come into a show, sometimes upwards of like 200 people, will conspire outside a show, meet each other and go, "You know what? We're going to laugh at nothing this guy says, not one fucking thing, and see how good the night is." Some of the worst nights of my life have been spent on a stage trying to achieve the impossible and make people laugh who clearly hate laughing. Sometimes I'll get hired to be a comedian and go somewhere and I turn up and what I discover they think a comedian is a qualified auctioneer of framed sports memorabilia, which leads to universal disappointment closely followed by anger. I got told to go to this work dinner function, right, they're like an annual dinner thing, and I've turned up and they said, "Oh, good thing you're here, we bloody love comedy here. What we've done this year is we've sent all the Sheilas home, there's no balls and chains to drag the night down, so it's just you and 200 blokes to cut loose and go for it." I said, "Oh, hot diggity. I can't wait. You know, nothing bad's ever happened in a room full of exclusively men. Let's do it." And they said, "Yeah, we love comedy. What we've done is we have a comedian every year. We've had some excellent acts. Hope you're as good as some of them. One time we had a magician puppeteer. He was fabulous. Hope you're as funny as him. We had a guy who does robot noises and famous people impressions straight out of his mouth. You wouldn't believe it. Some other ones in between. Our favourite, though, probably was last year. We had these 4 improvisers turn up, and when they rolled in, these are blokes already. They were dressed as Dolly Parton, all 4 of them, so already clocked on there. Hilarious. And what they did was they took suggestions from the crowd and started doing skits, all dressed as Dolly Parton. It was so good. And they ended up doing Winter Olympics skits where they were pretending to ski and stuff. Mate, that was unbelievable. That took the roof off. That was entertainment. They were unbelievable. I said, "Man, seeing as I've seen this exact same Dolly Parton impro troupe in my past performing Winter Olympics skits, then unbelievable is certainly the correct term for what these fucking thespians are up to last year at your dinner." And while I'm down here, I'm not here to rip into any form of live entertainment, including, you know, magic, ventriloquism, hypnotism, clowning, balloon animal shaping, and all the other dark arts that have a disturbing tendency to attract sexual predators to their ranks. That's not my business. But considering that some 2IC has had to approach a social coordinator and say, oh, sir, seeing as we think the funniest thing in the world is 4 unhappily married hobbyists dressed as Dolly Parton pretending to win a fucking bobsled race, maybe we should do a little bit of research on the entertainment we're going to get for this year, see if he's appropriate. Nah, just book him. But, sir, I've got a high-powered information machine in my pocket. I could just look at one of his videos online, see if he's the sort of thing we'd like. No, I said book him. So I've turned up there and they said, look, it's going to be a bonus as well because tonight we've got a speech before you by a bloke called Eric who works here, or he did work here up until a year ago when he was involved in a horrible workplace accident, lost both his legs. So he's just going to give a speech, first time back in front of the lads, and then we'll just bring you straight out after that and you can bring the night home with some comedy. And to top this, Eric's speech is going to also involve a tribute to his best friend and colleague, Bob, who lost his life in the same accident. So he's going to give a little speech about Bob, talk about himself, and then we'll just bring you on after that. And it's going to be a great night. Testimonials to dead people, in my experience, have always had a tendency to be very, very generous, almost as if fuckwits don't die. But even with that in mind, Eric's testimonial to his fallen friend Bob, who by all accounts loved a laugh, was quite believable and articulate, even if I seemed to be the only one there who thought there was some semblance of ambiguity surrounding whether or not Eric was responsible for Bob's death. But I wasn't going to say anything. Not really my place. But Eric proceeded to give a 45-minute speech and presentation with a large screen with slideshows of his painful and courageous rehabilitation back from no legs to prosthetic legs to standing in front of his mates for the first time here today. And interspersed with this, of course, were a lot of pictures of Bob, who loved the laughs, beaming larrikin smile. And Bob's smile, he said, was one of those smiles that never failed to make the most of a mundane situation, such as working in a factory all the livelong day on minimum wage with no foreseeable diversion except for perhaps an early death. But by the time Eric finished his speech, safe to say that I was the only one there out of 200 men not crying. And they've thought, you know what, we'd better get this comedian straight on here. Nothing really makes a burly factory man forget the tears rolling off his large face onto a cube of cheesecake better than some fluorescently lit stand-up comedy. Let's get him out there. So I had to walk out, and I don't mind saying it was very exposing. As I walked on stage, I knew at that very time that Bob would be flying up to heaven with a leg under each arm. Just looking back over his shoulders, thinking, I hope this comedian is funnier than being crushed to death by machinery operated by a negligent colleague. And with this in mind, plus the fact that Bob loved a laugh, I thought there's only one thing for this. No point in pussyfooting around. I'm going to have to go for it and go all in. So I got to the microphone. First thing I said was, oh, how about Eric, everyone? What an amazing story. All the way from adversity right through to triumph. An inspiration to one and all is Eric. Yeah. As a support act, though, he wasn't very fucking funny, was he? Yeah. I wish some of you were there. Because while Bob, God rest his mirthful soul, loved a laugh, the mortals he left here on earth fucking didn't. Right, I feel like I might have brought the mood down a bit here. I've got to bring this gig back, starting now. So perverts are everywhere, aren't they? Not a great time to be a pervert from what I've seen. There's still plenty around, don't worry. I don't know any of you, but statistically there's like 13 to 15 perverts just in this front section here. Just men up to no good around the place. Filthy pervert types. If you're a pervert, right, you want to get it out there that that's you, because it's a gentlemanly thing to do. You're a creep. You're as creepy as earrings on babies. Or, you know, V-necks, or white jeans and a guitar at the beach, or black bed sheets. Or you're as creepy as one of those blokes who aborts a reverse park on a main street halfway through like a spineless fucking sneak. Or you're as creepy, right, as one of those groups of two mates who marry each other's sisters. Yuck. Oh. Or you're as creepy, right, as one of those guys who goes into a fish and chips shop and buys a burger like a slinky little peeping Tom. Revolting. Or you're as creepy as one of those guys who hires a skywriter to propose to his girlfriend in an unrivalled act of standover coercion. Dressed up as generous romance. No good. Or you're as creepy, right, as one of those guys who buys jewellery for his wife and gets it right like a scaly fucking predator. Disgusting. You're a creep, right? We've established that. And you want everyone to know, and you want to get it out there. But it can be a bit strong to come across first time you meet people and go, hey, everyone, I'm a massive creepy pervert. That can be off-putting for some people. You want to get it out there, though. So what you should do is just round out your sentences with the term, if you know what I mean. What a disgusting thing that men say to other men, if you know what I mean. No one's ever said to me, if you know what I mean, and I haven't already known what he meant. If you know what I mean just means, look, I know heaps of synonyms for dicks, and I'm not afraid to use them. And it always goes, if you know what I mean, always goes really well with the kind of bloke who talks out the side of his mouth in a bit of outdated gender solidarity. It's a bit, oh, mate, should have seen what me and me porks all got up to last weekend, if you know what I mean. Like, if you talk out the side of your mouth and you're not a farmer trying to keep the flies out, you're a clarty little pervert. No two ways about it. This guy sided up to me at a pub, right, and he started talking out the side of his mouth. He's come up and gone, mate, see that woman over there? I said, yes. He goes, you know what I'd fucking love to do to her? I said, well, yes, I do. You'd like to unzip your jeans and whip out your spam javelin and twirl it around a few times and say something about helicopters, you filthy hog of a man. And he said, nah. I said, all right, well, in that case, you want to ask her if she likes the symphony orchestra before presenting her with your woodwind member, the pink oboe, the skin flute, or the beef clarinet. That's what you want to do, you rancid, silent fart in a jar. And he said, nah. I said, all right. What you want to do, right, I reckon, is you want to ask her what her favourite animal is. And it doesn't matter what she answers. You're going to say, well, that surprises me, because I thought your favourite animal would be the dragon, because by midnight tonight, I'll be dragging my tummy banana across your fitted sheets. That's what you want to say, you stringy trail of footpath snot. And he said, nah. So, all right. What you want to do, right, is you want to tell her that your job is a gardener or a groundsman of some description before unfurling your groin ferret and waving it around a bit and saying something about hoses or leaf blowers or something like that. That's what you want to do, you thin paper bag of travel vomit. And he said, nah. I said, man, all right. What you want to do? I got it. You want to ask her if she likes roadhouse food before inviting her down the beach for a crumb sausage. That's what you want to do, you revolting little chair-sniffing poo jogger. And he said, nah. I said, man, I got to... All right, what you want to do, right? No, you want to... I got this. You want to ask her if she would consider kissing the nose of a bunny rabbit. And of course she's going to say yes. Bunny rabbits are adorable. And then you're just going to pull your pockets inside out and say, these are the ears, revealing cleverly the whole time that the bunny rabbit's nose was just your bacon bazooka all along. That's what you want to do, if I know what you mean, you festering anal polyp. And he said, nah. I said, man, I'm... All right. Nah. What you want to do, right, is you want to get a piece of bread and you want to flop your throbbing bed muscle down the middle of it, and you want to get some sliced pickle to arrange along the side where the shaft meets the bread, standing up so it looks nice, wedged in there. And then you're going to get some caramelised onion to sprinkle on the bell, not too hot. And then garnish it with some curly parsley, obviously. And then put a squiggle of yellow mustard right up the length and ask her if she likes hot dogs. That's what you want to do, you fucking dog-breeding real estate agent. and he said, nah. So, man, I'm all out. What is it that you want to do to her? He said, what I want to do, right, is I want to go over there for a little while and talk to her and just hope she doesn't judge me like everyone else does just because I've had a stroke. Right, so if any of you hear a more comprehensive 7-part dick joke this social season, I'd be very interested to know exactly what it is. I pretty much clocked off here, so you can go if you want. I just sort of... Anyway, thanks very much for coming out and taking a punt on someone who's not a fucking TV panellist. That's... I should leave you with a message, though. That's what you've got to do after a show, don't you? So, follow your dreams, everyone. It's the main thing. Just follow your bloody dreams, all of you. And by follow your dreams, I mean get some property. The Aussie dream. Just get a stake in the ground. Get on that property, though. It doesn't matter how rickety it is. Just get on that ladder and get a place. You see people so proud of themselves when they've achieved this. They say things like, oh, we got a place. Yeah, we're very proud. Of course, the only place we could afford was an asbestos bungalow on contaminated land on the junction of two major trucking routes. We're only ever one crotch full of piping hot coffee away from an 18-wheeler ploughing through the kid's bedroom. But, we got the place. So follow your dreams. So anyway, I got to go. I'm going to provide the outro music for tonight's show, but I need a little bit of help to do this, obviously. So could you guys please welcome back to the stage Cam Knight. Also don't want any of you bloggers going home and booting up and saying that on top of some things that was said that you disagreed with, it's important that you tell the internet this, that no attempt was made to entertain you tonight. So we're going to provide the entertainment for you to walk out to on tonight's show. I've only just discovered what entertainment actually is, of course. It's imitating someone you're not. So here's our imitation of Dolly Parton. Thanks for having us. Cheers.
To get myself together, waltz right through the door like you done before, and wrap my heart around your little finger. Here you come again. Just when I begun to make it work without you, you look into my eyes like those pretty lies, and pretty soon I'm wondering how I came to doubt you. All you gotta do, smile and smile. Shaking me up so, and all I really know is here you come again. And here I go, and here I go. Here you come again, and here I go. You come again, here I go. Here you come again, and here I go. You come again.
Great.
Sorry.
Wilhelmina Wood wagon.
Sorry.
When he goes deadpan again, it'll be. I'll tell you.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, man. I'm a fuckhead. You're just such a cunt.